All right, we're back, and everything is new.
New year?
Yep, new sets.
New video game?
Yep, and is there anything else new? Something else that you see that's new that maybe we should mention?
No, I don't see anything. That's it.
Tina, don't you see anything else that's new?
Oh my God, you got your hair done. It's burgundy and it's spray. Today on G4 TV, it's the Clash of the Titans. Half-Life 2 versus Halo 2, then it's slaughtering in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, but screw that crap, because we got Lauren Lanning toting Oddworld's Strangest Wrath, and he brought some Oddworld bling.
Next on G4 TV.
Okay, welcome to G4 TV, the show that gives gamers a voice. Now, Tina and I want you to meet the final piece to our little gaming puzzle, our new co-host, Jeff Keighley.
Welcome aboard, Jeff Keighley. We're so excited to have you. Absolutely.
Seriously, anyone who watches G4 knows Electric Playground. You've been a host of that. We're big fans of the show.
He's got Entertainment Weekly, GameSpot. He's one of the first guests on G4TV.com.
That was fun.
And Jeff named one of the top 30 business journalists in the world under 30 by newsbios.com, just like you and I were.
Just like us. Remember?
That was great. It was a great team of that.
Honestly, we're so happy to have you.
Absolutely.
As this being, your very first episode, we thought we'd pop your cherry a little bit and celebrate with some champagne.
Have a little bit of champagne. So great.
It's get a glass. You're trying to take a look.
Down there or something?
Welcome aboard, Jeff Keighley. Woo, season 4.
Did you guys already drink it? Or?
All right.
Well, you guys, not only is Jeff new, we drank it. Tina, I thought you took the last sip.
I did. I'm just going to get the shards off of it.
Wow, yeah.
Not only is Jeff new.
That tasted good. That had a bit of a punch to it.
Was that good? A bit of a punch. Okay. All right, people, let's look at this set over here. I'm here at the hub of interactivity. We're going to be taking your calls. We're going to be chatting you up, checking the message boards, all right here from G4 TV's new mothership. It's awesome, and it's good times ahead. Don't you think?
Yes.
Looks good. Well, anyways, guys, we should get the show started. So let's kick it off with a debate for the new season. And it's a controversial one about two games, Half-Life 2 or Halo 2. Which is the better game? Now, even though the games are on different systems, Halo's on the Xbox and Half-Life's on the PC, that hasn't stopped fans from arguing over the relative merits of each of these sci-fi first-person shooters. But I've got to be honest, I don't think there's much of a debate, guys. To me, Half-Life 2 is by far the better game.
Half-Life 2.
It's got more innovative, it's got, better gameplay, better physics.
Better weapons.
Yeah, I think technologically it's a phenomenal game, probably the greatest game ever made. But let's talk a little bit about multiplayer. Let's talk a little bit about you cannot discount the resources and the replayability that Halo 2 brings to the table. You just can't.
Absolutely, and the multiplayer aspect is huge.
I mean, obviously, they're both shooters. One's on the PC, one's on the Xbox. I do agree with you, but I do think there is a bit of an argument about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, Half-Life's got the Counter-Strike, which a lot of people forget about. It's a great multiplayer feature. I just think the Half-Life single-player campaign was so much better than Halo, but they're both, two of the best games.
But I know you've only played that once. Let's get to Andrew Croft. He's from La Cañada, California. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Let's talk Half-Life 2 versus Halo 2. What are your thoughts?
All right. Well, I thought in Halo 2, the single-player, the campaign just felt kind of more epic. It felt larger, like on a galactic scale. Whatever you do affects, everyone else in the whole, galaxy.
And that's interesting that you brought up the Halo 2 single player when you were just talking about, you sort of discounted that a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I mean, Andrew, did you feel it was particularly innovative? I mean, was there something that they did in that game that you hadn't really seen in other games out there yet?
Well, I think Half-Life 2 definitely had the better single player.
Okay.
But the best thing I think about Halo 2 is just the multiplayer. It blows everything else away, in my opinion.
The multiplayer is a huge aspect. I think in a lot of reviews, that's the dominating force as to why Halo 2 is coming out on top, because it's just undeniably good times.
Right. Andrew, do you play any other PC games, or are you just more of an Xbox player in general?
Yeah, I'm more of a console player in general, but I do play, the best PC games that come out that I hear about.
That's one of the challenges, I think, is a lot of people, Halo, they love it on Xbox, but they're not even exposed sometimes to the PC games, which are normally where, first-person shooters are the best.
First-person shooters need to be played with a keyboard and a mouse. If you want to get the exact, pinpointing of your gun, the precision, and the larger detail on your computer monitor, it just makes for a better first-person shooter gameplay experience.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it. Now we've got Mike McCormick from Cincinnati, Ohio. All right, Mike, Half-Life 2 versus Halo 2. What are your thoughts?
I'm calling mainly for Halo 2. I think it's far superior than Half-Life 2.
Wow. And you think graphically and everything?
And you played through both? You played through both the games?
Well, graphically and all that stuff, I'm not going to measure the two between that.
So I think you're just talking about the game that you're having more fun with. You consider that the better game?
Well, exactly. For me personally, I go for a fast-paced game, and overall, Halo 2, from beginning to end, it kept me on the edge. I mean, wondering how big or how tough the next round of enemies were going to be.
And what was your feeling when you finished Half-Life? I mean, did you say this game was all right, or was good?
No, this game was great. I mean, there's no question about it.
They're both phenomenal games.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean,
You're comparing two gems.
it's like
That's true.
Half-Life.
I like that.
Yeah, Half-Life 2 justified every puzzle. Every time you figured out what you're going to do, you went, that makes sense.
No, that was the selling point for me, the puzzles. I'm like, oh, and then you just feel so rewarded, like you know, just dominated the world, and I loved it.
All right, well, this show's about you guys. Let's take a look at the poll results from the G4TV.com website. The winner is Halo 2, 68% of the people think that Halo 2.
I'm absolutely blown away. I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be a bloodbath in the other direction.
Absolutely. Well,
That's
I think Half-Life 2 is a better made game, but I have more fun with Halo 2.
But this guy said it, you know, they're both gems. You're comparing two gems.
Yeah, exactly. They're two of the best games of last year.
All right, well, there you go. Resident Evil 4, you guys, is out on the stands. So next act, we're ripping it up and taking out the chainsaw. You know, will it make the cut? Plus, later in the show, we're bringing in the developer of Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath, Lorne Lanning, and he's giving away some special prizes, so stay tuned.
Scott with 1T, host of G4TV.com. The question of the age is, why only 1T? All right, I'll tell you. The truth is, my parents couldn't afford the second T. Okay? You feel better now? You happy? Now you have the answer.
Damn, this set looks pretty. And Tina,
Nice.
speaking of pretty, you're pretty.
Aw,
Jeff, you're pretty.
Jeff, you're so
Wow.
pretty.
Well, you know what?
Thank you, guys.
Resident Evil 4 is out, and it is pretty. We've all been playing this game, and you guys, it's gorgeous. I remember when the first time I played a Resident Evil game, you know, when the dogs jumped through the window, back on my PS1, and it was awesome. I've been a fan of it since then.
That was
But
like
now-
96, I
Yeah,
think, right?
96.
98, I think.
Or 98?
You can find it out later. But whatever it was a while ago, and 11 games later, the
Yeah.
franchise is still alive. But do we care? Do we care about this new game?
Of course we can.
Man, we do with Resident Evil 4. You know, I think the whole franchise in general, the survival horror genre,
Yes.
it really brought it into life, you know?
It coined the phrase, really. It's the
Yeah.
first of its kind.
And one of the problems with Resident Evil, the franchise as a whole, has been that, you know, it was always stuck in this rut of sort of the same game again and again with the
Yeah.
same mechanics, and the camera didn't really move. It was very static. And this Resident Evil 4 is a completely amazing 3D environment, and they've totally sort of, they birthed new life into the whole franchise.
They
with
did,
this
because
game.
Outbreak was a little shady, a little sketchy. A lot of the Resident Evil fans weren't really happy with it.
The game was terrible.
I wouldn't say, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it always
was
had
pretty
bad voice acting, like we know from your cutscene
yeah.
theater, right?
I enjoyed
Super
that voice
cheesy.
acting.
Well, Jill,
Right.
the key.
Yeah, but if you think about it, I mean, Resident Evil is such an important force in gaming. We've had comic books, movies, feature movies, you know.
Action figures.
Action figures. There was even a really bad play. There's been
Yes.
some novels.
Play, wow.
There have.
I mean, people love this franchise.
Well, I think thanks to Resident Evil 4, the franchise is not going to go anywhere. We actually have some people on the phone who want to talk a little bit about it. We got Frank Vitarello. He's from Lyndhurst, New Jersey. Hey, Frank, how are you?
Hey, Laura. Hey, Tina.
Good. What do you think about the whole Resident Evil 4 game?
Oh, this is the Resident Evil game that we've been waiting for since, like, Resident Evil 1.
And tell
Right?
us why, yeah.
Why? Well, apart from the just amazing graphics, I think there's not going to be games in the first wave of next-generation systems that look as good as this game.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
also the fact that Capcom is kind of, like, tipping their cap to a lot of the great games of the past, like, 4 or 5 years. It's got cinematics that feel a lot like the quality of the Metal Gear series.
Right.
It's got those interactive action sequences that are kind of like Dragon's Lair or Shenmue.
And is there anything that bothers you about it? Like, I got a little bit frustrated just because you're used to kind of running and shooting at the same point or strafing, and you can't
Yeah.
do that in this game. Did that bother you at all?
That's the only thing with the new over-the-shoulder look. It kind of feels like it wants to play like Max Payne, but it still moves
You're ready for
like
bullet time.
Resident Evil.
And
Right.
what about the inventory system? That's another thing that sort of frustrates me.
it's
Is you
like-
always have to go to the inventory.
Yeah, it's like the old pen and paper Dungeons
Right.
and Dragons type inventory system. But I like that better than the inventory boxes that are like scattered through the levels
Right.
on the older.
Right. So out of a 10, what do you give this game?
Oh, it's a 10.
Wow.
It's a 10.
It's a true
Wow.
Resident Evil fan.
10.
I think it's a 10 for
Appreciate
the
the call.
Resident Evil franchise, but like you said, there's a couple flaws. I hate having to push out to my menu screen to equip my different
Yeah,
weapon.
it's
Just push the B
disappointing.
button.
Yeah,
Just come on.
exactly. All right. Well, thank you again, caller. Let's go to Austin Snell. He's from White Lake, Michigan. How you doing, Austin?
Hey, good.
Great.
How
Why don't you? Good. We're doing great. Give us some comments on Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, well, I think this is probably one of the best games I have ever played, but it's probably kind of biased from me. But
Do you do work on it? Why would it be biased?
but I do have some things I didn't like about it.
All right,
right.
give us the criticisms here. What are the criticisms?
Okay.
We talk the trash.
Okay. I hated Ashley. She always got in my way. She's so bratty and annoying. she keeps dying and getting captured by the
Chicks do that.
It's tough with, but AI characters and stuff like that. That's a really hard thing to pull off in games. Is when you have a character following you around and that kind of stuff.
But now I've read, and I cannot confirm nor deny, that if you position her and the camera in a certain angle, you can almost see up her dress, and she'll yell, "Stop it!"
Oh yeah. Like you can stop her at the top of the ladder. You can climb up, and she's like, "What are you looking at?"
Right. Well, great. I mean, there are definitely flaws, but to me, one of the coolest things is you're just kind of waiting for the enemies to kind of back off, and they just keep coming, and they come right up to you. I mean, you get this claustrophobic, really like survival, like this horror feeling.
That's
like
what
you can't get away from them, you know?
No, and what about the difficulty? That was the other thing that I think a lot of people have been complaining. It's a pretty hard game. Did you finish it? I mean, did you feel it was too difficult?
Oh yeah, I finished it like tons of times, but
Tons of times. Wow.
It's like 25 hours to finish this game or something. So.
Okay.
Well, you know, the very first villagers, they're not that difficult, but they're just there to get you acquainted with the game, to sort of get ready.
And there's more drama coming, I guess.
Yeah, well, thank you for the call. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Tina, you mentioned how it coined survival horror. Were you scared? And that's what we want to know. Were you scared?
Yeah, I enjoyed every second
And the music and the sound, it has a great ambiance, the whole thing put together.
I know, like I let out little yelps.
By far my favorite Resident Evil game.
Production value is amazing on that game.
So there we go. We enjoy it. But, you know, if you think Tina is strange, you guys ain't seen nothing yet, because we've got Oddworld Stranger's Wrath up next with the man who, you know what, refuses my marriage proposals every time I ask, Lauren Lanning. Plus, he's got autographed copies of his artwork book, and we're giving them away to you. Seriously.
Stay out of the sun summer.
The host I missed the most would definitely be Sarah Lane. Her and Kevin Pereira had a lot of great chemistry on Attack of the Show, and you never knew what to expect.
Hey, welcome back to the interactive talk show all about video games, G4 TV. Now, January is normally a month where there are not many big blockbuster games, but this year we had Resident Evil 4, which we just talked about, and the fourth game in the Irreverent Oddworld series is also coming out. It's called Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. It's a visually stunning first- and third-person shooter starring Stranger, a mysterious bounty hunter. But more importantly, it has a great sense of humor, and that's what the Oddworld games have always been known for, something that we really like. But anyways, I want to introduce our guest today, because joining us to talk about all things Oddworld is Lauren Lanning. He's the president of Oddworld Inhabitants. Lauren, welcome to the show. And you're also the voice of Abe, right?
Welcome to the show, Lauren.
There's the Abe voice. Now, Lauren, before we start talking about the game, I want to ask you about the console wars, because a few years you were a really outspoken proponent of Xbox. You got up on stage at E3 saying, you know, we can do our games for Xbox, you know, PS2 can't power our games. I remember afterwards, Jason Rubin.
I never said that.
Well, but afterwards, Jason Rubin called you guys a lazy developer, I remember, in an IGN article. And now, you know, so a couple of years later, we look at, you know, PS2's been much more successful than Xbox. There's been a lot of really innovative games out there. I mean, do you still agree with what you said, that Xbox is a better system?
Well, there's been a lot of misinterpretations of what was said. And when you come to technical capabilities, the Xbox is an amazing system. It's a superior system. We never said that the PS2 won't deliver great games. The argument was about how should development costs fuel or be conducive or counterproductive to building great games. And what we were proponents of is better tools for developers, systems that were more developer-friendly, so we could build better games at cheaper prices. And ultimately, that would mean that more gamers got better games more frequently and had a wide variety to choose from, and developers would stay in business longer.
Which is all we want.
Which is why we probably won't see Oddworld on the GameCube.
So you made the right choice, I guess.
Of course he did. Leave him alone, Jeff.
Any game that has flatulence in it, you know, it's got to come from a guy with a sense of humor.
No, seriously. But let's talk a little bit about Stranger's Wrath. There was a tough time there. I was sweating where, you know, it was going to be published by Microsoft, and then EA picked it up. How bad did it get? Like, how close to being canceled did we come?
Well, it's a long, interesting story.
For a while, I was like, it's not going to be canceled.
But Oddworld was it ever in jeopardy? I mean, was this?
Well, I think, you know, in our entire existence, we're always in jeopardy. You know, building
That's
games.
Being an independent developer.
Us too.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually our last show as well, so it's been great knowing you.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Tried.
But so, you know, a small developer, it's like being a hamster in a field of tigers. You know, you're just waiting to be gobbled up. But the project, it was a very innovative project, and it took a long time to really get it running. We built it from scratch. We built all new technology, and in the process, the Xbox was originally targeted towards casual gamers, and Microsoft And the market proved that the hardcore gamers were really adapted to it. And this caused Microsoft to shift some of their planning reasonably slow. And at the same time, it caused us to rethink some of our planning. And it made sense for the separation from Microsoft, and the jump to EA made sense. And so far, you know, Microsoft was always a great partner.
Well,
and
EA's not a bad partner either.
No, exactly.
EA's not a bad partner
Thank
either.
God it all worked out, like, seriously.
You know, so the future is a really interesting place. And at the end of the day, Stranger's Wrath made it out.
Yes.
And but you know, the history of Oddworld, it's always been difficult, and it's difficult for all the small
It's all
developers.
in the name, right?
But we built something that we're proud of.
Good.
And the team did an amazing job. So
Well, we have Tim Donnelly on the phone from Dover, New Hampshire. How you doing, Tim?
Pretty good.
Good. You have a question for Lauren?
Yeah, actually I do. I heard that there's going to be living ammo in this game. Is that correct?
yeah, live ammo. That's right.
Yeah, and what kind of ammo is it going to be?
You can shoot Laura out of a big
And the ammo talks back to you. That's one of my favorite
God, if I was
parts.
in the game, I would just die.
It's really smart-ass ammo. You know, we're always trying to squeeze more character into the experience and give the gamer more options. So we developed a concept of all these little critters in the environment, and you hunt all these little critters, and they each have different impact and effects on the rest of the characters in the world that you would use them against. And the reason we created this is we wanted to bring something new to combat and shooting. And some of the things that you do, you have skunk bombs that make characters throw up, that incapacitate them, spiders that'll tie them up, bees that'll sting them, bats that'll blow them up. Bats are like grenades with teeth, and fuzzles that are like living landmines. So these different things we put into the game because we're at Oddworld. We're trying to bring innovative things that still play really well and try and discover some new territory.
Very inventive.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tim. We totally appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about the Western theme. How did this sort of, you guys sitting around a round table and just go, okay, there's a lack of Western games. How about Western meets
Western
Oddworld?
comedies, no
Yeah,
less.
exactly. How did that come about?
Well, we wanted a different signature. I mean, the Oddworld games they take place on such a different universe that sometimes it's hard to communicate. And the idea of like displaced people, bounty hunters, you know, murderous outlaws, all of these things really resonated well with the Western idea. And if we place this in a Western world, it would help people to sort of go, oh, I have an idea of what's that about. Like when you first saw Abe and you see this blue guy with stitches in his lips and he works at Rupture Farms, you go, what is that? You know, what's going on? And so we felt if we could place it and begin it in a little bit of a familiar universe, then from there on, we'd escalate it into a more crazy place. But at least you'd go, oh, I have an idea. It's a bounty hunter in a Western-like theme, and you're hunting outlaws.
And this looks like a great time.
And it's bizarre, you know, and there's some crazy things happening. Okay, I get it.
I can't wait, because personally, you know, Red Dead Revolver didn't do it for me. Dead Man's Hand, not so much. Stranger's Wrath.
We've been searching for a good Western. Well, look, Lauren's going to stay and hang out, because when we come back, Lauren's going to answer some true and false questions, and you're going to have an opportunity to win an Oddworld Inhabitants art book created by the very talented staff of Oddworld Inhabitants. Now, everyone's got their favorite game. You've got their favorite game. I've got a favorite game. Laura has a favorite game.
I do.
But now let's take a look at Auntie7651's sweetest 5 games. Your voice on G4T, and here's how you get involved. Head over to our website at g4techtv.com and click on the G4TV Wanna Be a Caller form. Post your opinion in the designated thread, and we will contact you from there. See, it's pretty painless, so make your voice count.
Okay, well, Lauren has agreed to play a little game with a few lucky callers. Now, you guys, we're going to give away this book. Tina, Jeff, and I will each read off a little bit of trivia about Lauren and Oddworld, and your job on the phone is to decide if it's oddly enough it's true, or it's way too odd for this world. Do you guys feel like that? Lauren, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
All right, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm William from North Carolina.
What's up, Willie? Okay, oddly true or way too odd? Chris Rock was originally considered to play the voice of one of the furballs in Stranger's Wrath.
Oh, man. I'd say oddly true.
Lauren?
This is true.
Ooh,
Really?
You win a book! Yeah! You win a book! No, Chris Rock,
So
what happened then?
Well, you ever try to hire Chris Rock? The guy's a fortune.
He's got the Oscars today.
That's why we got Jeff.
That's on, I know, right? Oh,
We love you, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, let's give away some more books.
All right. Hey, caller.
Yeah,
Hey, what's your name?
Matthew.
Where are you calling from, Matthew?
Larry, California.
All right, fantastic. Now, oddly enough, it's true or too odd to be true or something like that, right?
Whatever.
Abe has stitches because he has no teeth.
Not true.
That's correct.
Wow.
It's not true.
What's the real answer?
What's the real answer?
The real answer is he cried when he was a baby, and his mom sewed his lips shut to keep him alive.
To keep him alive?
Yeah, and then it's a longer story as to why.
Oh, I bet, because if he made noise, somebody would come and kill him. And
Yeah.
Yes. You're going to be a good mother.
I'm going to bring
You know it all. Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats. All right, so he wins the book too.
He wins the book too.
Exactly. All right, one more. So now here's the next one. Caller, you there?
Hello?
Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?
Terrence Sanchez from San Jose, California.
Okay, cool. So here's the true or not. Now, the question is, now, what Lauren actually came up with the idea for Abe because he had a Kermit the Frog doll, and he actually dropped him in a vat of acid when he was younger, and that sort of birthed the idea of this Abe character. So do you think that's oddly true or not?
I'll go with true.
It's true? Is that true, Lauren?
No, it's false.
No? How did you come up with that? That's right.
It was the tab of acid.
How did you come up with it?
all the difference, right?
Abe was inspired by third world workers in conditions like Bangladesh shipping companies.
Okay. Really? Okay. Well, thank you. You know, actually, you guys were out of time today, but we want to thank all of our callers and, of course, Lauren Lanning from Oddworld Inhabitants. And, you know, seriously, my offer for marriage still stands.
Yeah, really. He said no
comment.
comment.
Anyway, we're out of time, so see you next time.
Great job, Jeff Keighley. Fantastic.
Good to see you
Thank
guys.
you,
Great,
Lauren.
thank you for
Appreciate
having
it so much.
Thanks, Lauren.
Absolutely.
Awesome to see you.
There's one show out there that keeps coming up. Hurl. It's good, unclean fun.
Eat it!
The greatest gag reflex competition ever mounted.
Don't puke, brother! Don't puke, eat more!
It's gastronomic molestation. It will bring about the imminent destruction of the human race. Reality TV that's turning heads and stomachs. Hurl. All new Sunday at 7, only on G4.